All right. I think we're recording now. Looks like we're recording.
All right.
I got my little baby here. She's gonna hang out
cool.
with us. I was trying to get the other kids to watch her, but she started crying. But today we're going to talk a little bit about VA renovation loans. And as far as I can tell, I don't know a whole lot of people in the country that do them or are good at them. And we ran across John. John talks about them all the time. I don't know what the final answer is. Like can we pick them up as investors? Can some of the guys across the country start doing more of them? But either way, I figure we can pick John's brain a little bit and increase the knowledge in the boot camp and with all the LOs that we know. So,
and that's where I'd like to jump in and say, I really like the fact that that we do them. A lot of people covet that because it's the single source project. It seems like the unicorn right now that we're able to offer. And I live in a military town. There's 3 military bases around us, and Florida has more military installations here than anywhere else in the world. So really, it's not about me or my company or being the single source for it. I'd really love to see more people offer it because it's the right thing to do for veterans. Absolutely. So typically, we always hear, veterans, they can only buy a house 100% fixed up, ready to go. And just like you guys try to do in the military boot camp, we try to dissuade the myth that VA borrowers are not competitive buyers. And now with this product, it gives them the power to be able to do that. So they can go out and they can buy a house in less than perfect shape. Maybe it has a bad termite letter or some other, kind of functional obsolescence that makes it unfinanceable. Well, not for veterans anymore. They don't have to settle for a less than perfect kitchen or anything else with the house. They can use a renovation loan, just like almost very similar to FHA 203K Limited. Now, we'll have to say this is a bank, we keep this and service this ourselves. So this is a product that we have on our own books, and there's 2 other companies that I've seen offer this product. They also keep this on their books, and they do it a different way. But I will have to tell you, this is the way that I've sat on conference calls with the VA, and the VA has told us we must do this loan. So as far as I know, this is how we do it. So that's what I want to show you guys today. As far as the limiting factors, what you can do on this program, very similar to the limited, or what they used to call the streamlined 203K. So a $35,000 cap, mainly because they want the work done within 90 days. They don't want the veteran to be displaced from the home. And kind of just to walk you through it, I'm going to put my camera up here and kind of show you. Hopefully this is coming through okay. But this is a maximum mortgage worksheet for VA. So very similar to a watered down FHA 203K. There's no supplemental origination fee. There's no consultant fee on a VA loan because there's no structural work allowed. You can't add footprint. But it shows you the appraised value, the gross loan amount, the county limit, and then all of the renovations. It does add for a 10% contingency reserve and for a final inspection for the appraiser to come back out so they can verify that the renovations have been done. One of the things that the VA has instructed us to do is, after we have this VA maximum mortgage worksheet, so we've gone through the process of selecting the house, we've gone through inspection periods, and we found out everything wrong with the home, similar to a 203K. We're going to enter all these things in the MMW, and it's actually going to change the purchase price of the house. And so this is different from a renovation loan, a typical renovation loan, because we are actually physically going to change the purchase price. And that's required by the VA. So not only that we can add the repairs in the addendum, and I can shoot an example of the addendum over, as well as give future value for it in the NOV. So we can
that's different from the 203K. I mean, all the way up to this point, it sounded very similar. But, at this point, you're doing and I'm guessing you don't have a 10% variance on the appraisal either, like you would a 2 or 3K.
Nope, just like a conventional reno, it has to come in 1-for-1 value. The one thing I do like this, in comparison to like a FHA 203K, is that the appraiser is having to guess all my soft costs and my contingency reserve. Some of the less known factors aren't prevalent with the appraiser. So the VA appraiser is going to know the exact dollar amount that I need to come into. Not that they're going to use that to sway their opinion, but at the end of the day, they're going to see the value that I'm trying to get to the veteran. and they see that in plain cost on the appraisal, as well as the renovation values, which are also now part of the appraisal. So it's just like a 203K. It's just like almost an elaborate escrow repair, but it allows for a 90-day construction period, and you can go way over the normal $5,000 cap for escrow repairs.
Do you ever use a HUD consultant to help you kind of zero in on the costs?
Sometimes at a suggestion. I do that for the veteran only because, as you can see, what would be really costly for time and instructive purposes is having to go back and forth on anything that you may miss in repairs. If the appraiser were to point that out, and you can do that, and you can keep changing and manipulating the value, but there's only so many shots that you get at going back to the seller with doing that. Most of these that I do here in Florida are bank REO, so it's already hard enough to get them to sign the addendum, up front, much less having to go back and do corrective signatures. So I really don't want to do that. And in Florida right now, and I'd love your guys' feedback on how to do this, but even our regular VA loans, much less these, are taking, on 15 days to 16 days. That's when our values are coming back.
That's where, Jay, you still on the call there? Are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Did you catch his question? So, you see.
Yeah, there's really not much that you can do about it, unfortunately. Just certain areas of the country are at their turn times. I know Stacey Stanley out in Colorado is just going berserk with the turn times out there. The only thing that you can do is, if you know any appraisers, get their stuff and send it into the VA. Even at the VA lending conference, they were literally asking, do you know appraisers? We need appraisers. So a lot of appraisers feel like, oh yeah, what's the point? It's a big old long list, I'll never get on, or it's too much hassle or something. You need to remind these people of two things. Number one, right now they would get in instantly because they're in dire need of appraisers. Number two, there's no management company, so they get the full $425. Or wherever you're, like Stacey Stanley, they raised it to $750. They get the whole $750. If you know appraisers personally, I would do that. I would even send out an email blast to all your realtors and say, look, we have an opportunity to help make this better. I know you guys know appraisers. Give me names and numbers. Yeah.
I love it. So Jay, is there, what would the procedure be for the appraisers making the connection? I mean, I guess I'm just uneducated with that. What's the next step for them?
Well, what they would need to do is if you've got you send out an email to your realtors, they send back a list of 7 people, right? You take those 7 people and you contact them individually and say, look, let's get you set up with the VA. And then what they need to do is contact the VA. They send an email over to the CMB department, which is construction and value, and the appraisal department, basically. And they just fill out their form and they send it over there to get approved. It probably take a week. Yeah.
So we basically can just help them get the contact information and ask them to sign up and just say, hey, we're one of the nation's leaders in VA loans. We through boot camp, and John, you do a lot of renovation deals. So you find some additional appraisers in your area and try to get them signed up. Jay, does it help as far as pushing turn times? Does it help to have the veteran call the loan centers, or is it just they're just so far behind turn times it's tough to push them?
I mean, it always helps. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. I didn't know which you were talking to me. Okay, so it always helps to have the veteran call, but you want to make sure when you're calling that you're already past your turn time.
You got to be past.
Right? You don't want to be calling before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The RLC, I mean, we try to light them up on day 15 if we don't have any action, or at least, kind of a clear cut, this is when your appraisal is going to be back. Seems to be the only thing that helps.
Yeah. And the other thing that you can do is be proactive with your agent to, on the buyer side, to get with the listing agent to have comps ready for when they get there with the appointment. Say, here's a list of 6 comps that we found. Hope this helps you.
Man, that's really good advice. We've had at least 3 Tidewaters in the last quarter.
Yeah, letting them know what Tidewater is up front. Having a template email ready, just send to your agents whenever the VA offer goes out, explaining what Tidewater is. I know Clayton in Las Vegas has a good template letter that he sends out whenever he has a VA deal that explains to the agents.
You know what, Fish? Will you have him post that to alumni and instructors, please?
Yeah. He just he sends the email up front and says, hey, if you guys hear Tidewater, you need to contact me immediately. This is what it is. It works.
Can I get that too? I don't think I'm in the instructor group, but I want it.
Yep. So that'll make you better, that just adding that template and sending that out to those agents right away. So hopefully because I know that's the worst feeling in the world when you're like, oh, we're already past Tidewater and I didn't know. I mean, that's crazy.
Hey, you guys, going back to getting the appraisers eligible to do with the VA, can we also kind of get that contact and maybe have somebody or create the process and put it in files so that we all know exactly what we need to, or who to contact, who to tell these VA or these appraisers to contact?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. We'll do that.
Okay.
I like that. Cool. So going back to John. So I know a lot of folks that are going to watch this are just probably never going to end up getting the VA rental product, or they may find a need for it. What states are you in right now? What other lenders do you know are doing it? I mean, I know if somebody's in Florida, they can always hit you up, but
I'd love that. Yeah, let me kind of go through that for you. I wish I would have known. I would have actually dressed up. I'm working from house today, drinking beer and cold fried rib sandwiches from leftovers yesterday. So sorry about that.
No, you're fine. It's totally informal.
Hey, dude, amen to that. Buddy.
Yeah. I think Jay's at McDonald's right now. I got kids like.
No, dude. I actually had leftovers. I made stuffed peppers last night, man. Killer.
And I'm jacked in right now, but my kids are screaming so loud downstairs. It's amazing. You guys can't hear them if you can't. So happy holidays. So a couple of things. Yeah, exactly right. There is another company doing it without the addendum, but they haven't delivered any yet successfully. So I don't know what to tell you on that as far as like if they.
I'm sorry, I missed that part with the addendum. What's with the addendum?
Well, the addendum is going to cover the purchase price, and it's actually going to include the repairs, so that way you can give value for it in the NOV.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But the largest, the largest difficulty you're going to have is if you don't send that addendum over and you're expecting to get future value just based on an addendum. A VA appraiser is going to tell you can't do this loan, and you're going to have to reach out to your SARs and get them to call the RLC to get them to complete value. And so if you don't have the addendum, I don't really see how it's possible that you're going to get anything back. So I've got a competitor. He's a really good friend that manages the renovation process for University Lending. And so I'm trying to grab the name real quick. It's University Lending, and there's one other. And they do it without the addendum, but they don't have any that have been successfully delivered to the VA. And none that I know.
So then they don't do them.
Well, I mean, they say they do.
They say they do them, but they don't do them.
But and he's a
either that or they're doing them and they're just stuck with them on their books, and pretty soon they're going out of business.
Well, that's always an option too. Not with us, but I know we've delivered ours. And then there's also one other lender out of Tennessee that says they do them, and their name is Starkey, but they don't do a VA renovation loan. They have some kind of nuance within the appraisal that they give a 10% tolerance of value, and they hold it back and they front the money for a renovation based on an equity line. I think all they're doing is refinancing them with a cash out refi after they've done the renovation. So I'm not really, I've done some smart shopper, kind of like some secret shoppers on Starkey, which is the lender, but I've not actually seen one close there either. So I know that we're closing them because I personally did 25 of them this year.
Yeah, but you're only doing them in Florida though, right?
So I'm licensed in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North and South Carolina. I let lapse this year because I really didn't do any business there, but Virginia and Tennessee. So Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama.
Cool.
I pretty much say that's the South.
There you go.
I mean, I don't know of anybody else doing them anywhere that I mean, to me, I was like, man, that's a unicorn. And to hear that you're actually closing them is pretty cool.
Well, all the ones that are
I think it's freaking awesome, and I think we need to make it awareness so that other freaking lenders will do it. I just don't get why they don't. I knew they had the product, the VA had the product, but I just didn't understand. I mean, you're willing to take a chance on an FHA borrower and do this crap.
Yeah,
for real?
That's crazy.
You know,
crazy.
A veteran borrower is not going to default. I mean, I just don't get it, dude.
I thought for sure that Wells Fargo was going to come out with it this past year. They talked about it, and they went jumbo instead, and they're getting killed in the secondary market. They can't find any repetitive funding for their jumbo Reno. But yeah, they elected not to go with VA Reno, and I think you're right. That's the reason why I'd like to get the word out. It's not really fair that I'm one of the only few people out there offering the product, especially for veterans. They have the right to choose and get the information, and I even have a good testimonial on my site right now where the veteran looked for 6 weeks after lender told him the product didn't exist before he found me.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we wanted to do this call, is to raise the awareness, because I know I gladly jump in to be one of the first guys learning the product in Michigan if I can find an outlet to sign up.
I'll tell you. Well, this is where I was going with that, Fish. Let me ask you this: when you so are you guys a correspondent, or can other loan officers? You guys don't do wholesale lending or anything where you can sign up brokers or anything?
No, we're a division of Loan Depot, and later this year, in 2017, you'll actually see that our name change will go away. They acquired us 3.5 years ago. But Loan Depot does not broker or correspond on any of these or any renovation product for that matter.
Okay.
So we got that going for us.
Yeah. Let's talk about positives.
So basically, we're going to refer you, just because we need to take care of veterans everywhere, man. We're going to refer basically every state in the South except for Kentucky and West Virginia, and I don't think you're upset about not having either one of those. But all the good news is with Kentucky, they do sell Rebel flags, and what was their thing? Fish. It was Rebel flags, firewood, and ham at the same store. Hey, go down to the store. We're fresh out of Rebel flags and need firewood. And don't forget the goddamn ham this time.
That was our trip through Kentucky. He's having a flashback to Kentucky. So,
yeah. In Florida, we're not
wonderful.
All right. So, Doug, what are your thoughts on all this as a innocent bystander?
No, I see value in it. In my market, I'm in southern Utah, and so we've got Hill Air Force Base up in Salt Lake, which is 4.5 hours away. But Utah's a big National Guard state, so we do have a lot of veterans that do live here. I just don't know how I would be able to get access to that product within my company. So, yeah, but I agree with what Jay said. And John, as far as if people are offering a 203K loan to FHA borrowers,
why not a veteran?
Yeah, I mean, vets, you're going to have one knucklehead that's going to foreclose on his loan or default, but the majority of veterans are going to follow through.
Yeah, right. Your 55 DTI cosigner 203K. I mean, that's a better product.
Yeah.
But cool. Well, any other VA thoughts related to the product, John, before we kind of let you guys get back to your holidays?
I would just say veteran education. A lot of people just don't know minimal property standards. They've changed a lot for HUD, and some of the things that I see that get referred to me, I mean, I try to put the veteran in the best product. So I think a lot of people overlook VA escrow holdbacks, less than $5,000, things that are non-health hazard or safety issues. Sometimes I get referrals that I won't let close on a VA renovation loan because it's missing like a cooking source, which is no longer required. So I think, I hate taking, good quality leads from other people. So just, brush up on your product guidelines, know the best for veterans. The VA
with the NPRs, if you're seeing people like that, John, just so you know, like, there's no minimum amount of repairs. And the rental product's awesome, but technically you don't need a rental product. If the veteran had the money, or if the seller, with repairs, any amount of repairs can be done. It could be $100,000 of repairs. Is whatever it takes to get the property up to the MPRs, the minimum property requirements. The VA is okay with that. The seller could pay for the repairs. The veteran can pay for the repairs. It could be a combination of the two to pay for the repairs. And you can collect up that money in escrow 1.5 times. The problem with that is the VA says it's okay, but it's a lender decision to make it because they only have 60 days to get their guarantee. And if they want that work done, if there's a lot of work to be done, they pretty much want it done within the first 30 days.
That's correct. It's
So
usually
that's really where you
holdbacks.
Yeah. How do you guys manage the holdbacks, John? What's your procedure for that? You just tell them you guys got.
That's a great question, Fish.
Yeah.
We're pro renovation at my company, so if it's like a structural health hazard or safety issue, no doubt about it, it's going to need to go Reno. But if it's less than $5,000, if it's just going to keep the veteran or even a regular FHA client from getting regular financing on a house and they have the money, or either the seller's willing to fund it and an escrow repair, we're very liberal on that. We've gone over $5,000 too in certain instances where it just makes sense. The borrower has the money. There's no need for renovation. But like I said, at the end of the day, if somebody's going to be able to go out and buy a foreclosure, these are homes that really probably do need repairs or something. If they want to put a whole new kitchen and bath in it, do a cosmetic remodel, and they just don't want to outlay all the cash, they don't have it, they want to put it in their loan. This is a great product, so they don't have to do expensive equity lines or roll the dice on if they're going to have the equity to do it afterwards.
Awesome,
man.
Anybody else got anything else to add? Cool.
No.
Cool. Well, John, we appreciate your knowledge and introduction to the product that many of us know very little about. I'm going to catch you after we stop recording here. We'll talk a little bit more. But, folks, if you're watching this and you're in boot camp and you're in one of the states John mentioned, you want to pick his brain, I guess I'll put you on the spot. I mean, John, what's the best way for them to contact you?
I prefer if you just shoot me an email, john.adams@imortgage.com, or you can shoot me an email on my Gmail account, probably easier to remember, FL, like the state abbreviation, 203k@gmail.com. That's FL203k@gmail.com.
Cool. Oh, I wanted to add one more thing to this that I thought about before we started the call, and just happened to be the timing was good. When you when you're introducing these products, I noticed that you do a lot of you do a lot of teaching, a lot of upfront work with the agents. You host classes, you do marketing blasts. You're constantly putting your name out there and attaching it to renovation lending in some way, shape, or form. We've been talking a lot about that in our boot camp instructor group about personal branding, about setting up classes. Are there any tips that you have to that other than just hustling and making lots of contacts and inviting agents to your seminars? Or
well, so there's a competitor of mine that does a lot of seminars here in town for renovation lending. He just does a lunch and learn. Those are very good outreaches to do that. If you're focused on renovation loans, there's certain, we can talk about that later if you guys want to talk about just focusing on renovation. But if you're going to do blasts, if you're going to do, emails, if you want to do a CE, there's all, various steps you can go to do that. Always keep a good database and a good CRM. I like to use Salesforce. I also like to use Constant Contact and BombBomb for sending out those emails. But then if you want to become like an expert in your field, maybe it's VA loans and maybe you want to teach a CE. And what I would suggest you do is get in good with your local board of realtors and particularly their education department and find ways to teach. And then also get accredited to teach classes for CE credit for your realtors. It'd be an effective way on getting
well, we actually do that. We're approved in the state of Florida with 3 hours of Con Ed. We have our school's there. With our school, if you wanted to be an instructor, we could do a class with you, create a class so that you can get Con Ed hours for your rental if you want.
I've been doing it for 7 years though. And so what I would say is if you wanted to teach like a 3-hour CE, I've got one of the only FREC approved CE for 3 hours of CE on renovation loans in Florida. I've been teaching it for 7 years. It's a great way to come aboard to host you, and not only host you, but ultimately they'll, for free, because you're teaching for free, will market you to their board of agents and pack your room for you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end this, and then we can keep chatting. But again, everybody, thanks for jumping on. Hopefully, you guys learned something. If you run into a product that sounds like it's going to fit in that box, hit up John. He knows what he's doing.